What is the craziest thing you've seen done at a party? I went down to a house party in a shitty neighborhood in Chicago many years ago. This was a particularly scummy group of people. There was this junkie chick that was really hard up for some heroin trying to score. But she owed so many people at the party that nobody was willing to hook her up. There was a stray pit bull running around in the alley behind the house that kept trying to follow people into the yard. After a while of listening to her beg, one of the guys offered her a hit if she ducked the dog. She agreed and a few guys wrangled the dog and brought it inside the house. She stripped down in front of everybody and kept trying to get the dog to duck her, but it didn't really understand and so it just wanted to play. After a few minutes of her jerking him off, he finally got the idea and she got the dog to duck her. The dog got really into it and was going nuts and clawing the crap out of her. After a couple minutes, the dog finished and ran off. So this girl was all scratched up and bleeding with dog cum dripping out of her. She didn't even put her pants back on. She just leaned back against the wall and got her kit out of her bag and prepped and shot up on the spot. TLDR, junkie chick ducked a dog to get her fix. I have posted this before and I have not yet seen a more ducked up thing at a party. Group of kids decided to try and make cotton candy by pouring sugar into a spin dryer. It caught fire. You're supposed to mix the sugar with clothes made of 100% cotton. Petrol cup gets set on fire. Friend kicks burning petrol cup. Friend is now on fire. Through a house party in college. I was trying to keep it relatively tame, but one of my roommates sent out a mass text and the whole house ended up being standing room only. Fast forward and some drunk asshole jumps in his car and floors it straight into the car parked in front of him. He then tries to make a quick escape by driving into the concrete drainage ditch next to my house. His car is now stuck nose down in the ditch. Rear wheels in the air. The drum guy then stumbles out and tries to tell everyone that it actually isn't his car and that my car is really his. We let him spend the next 10 minutes trying to unlock it while the police came. Dude drank like a liter of vodka. Washed it down with some orange juice. At some point in the next hour, he crapped his pants on a white leather couch. We trailed him to a bathroom where he used the floor mats as toilet paper. Just crap everywhere. He somehow climbed out of a privacy window and ran into the night. I once saw someone do the marijuana. Walked into a room one time and there was a guy taking a dump on a glass coffee table. And another guy underneath the table taking pictures through the glass. Girl shit in my sink. Her friend was using the toilet. And I guess she sat up there to pee. But more than pee came out. So I had the pleasure of asking which one of the few girls at my party fired one off in the sink. Surprisingly, she raised her hand. Then burst into tears and ran out of my apartment. Great. Now I have to clean that shit up. Had the same thing happen except she spent the entire night denying it was her. You're the one person who went into my bathroom and locked yourself in there for 20 minutes. When you came out, the bathroom was destroyed. What a mystery. There was this huge bowl of chips with some French onion dip. I got a huge chip and didn't get quite enough dip on it. Took the first bite. Looked around and double dipped like a ducking boss. Party at my house. My friend Tim is there. All night he keeps asking people if they've seen his sister. His twin sister. He's looking for her and she's here somewhere at this party. I know he doesn't have a sister, but I figure he's just being weird. From about 9 till 2 he's asking everybody. Making it a point to specifically ask each and every individual if they've seen his sister. His twin sister. It's just after 2 AM when, unbeknownst to any of us, he tucks his wiener between his legs. He turns off the music. Drops his pants to his ankles and shuffles through the whole party screaming twin sister. Twin sister. This, not too classy, girl I used to work with sucked her boyfriend's big dick in front of me outside of a bar. Later when she was throwing up, her boyfriend told me he had a fantasy of hooking up with a guy and wanted to fool around with me. I don't hang out with them anymore. Edit, grammar. I woke up hungover the next day at my friend's house after a huge house party. Everyone was still passed out asleep. I went in his kitchen to get some water and there was about 7 homeless people with sleeping bags filling the floor. No idea how they got in. We had to call the police because they refused to get up. I love the idea of a band of hobos that just wander around looking for raucous house parties so they can just pass out in random rooms unnoticed. Saw a brand new 55-inch TV thrown off a 3rd story deck. This is the most painful story in the thread. When I was 14 I went to a friend's 15th birthday party. We were like 10 people. Using the 2nd floor of their house for his party. Someone brought moonshine that his father had made. Which was pretty normal. So I went downstairs to ask his parents for some shot glasses. His father gave me some porcelain shot glasses. And back up I went. I didn't expect that at all. Then his mom comes running upstairs. Yelling like there's no tomorrow. She grabs the porcelain things. Thrusts a bag of plastic shot glasses onto our table. And walks back downstairs muttering about her husband giving us the fine shot glasses. Yeah. I grew up in a yokel town. But that seemed pretty ducked up at the time. That was my first party. And we did shots of 96% homemade ducking moonshine. It hurt. I throw a large house party in the country. About 50-60 people show up, all ready to drink. We were 23-26. Close friend passes out on the couch after a solid 8 hours of drinking, 11 PM. Proceeds to wake up. Walked aside of couch. Drops pants and takes a huge sheet in front of 50 people. Everyone was yelling at him, but he just couldn't snap out of it. After huge sheet is dropped. A friend of mine who snuck out during the commotion, runs in wearing his hazmat suit he recently picked up for local FD training. Cleaned it all up. Probably the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. Edit, autocorrect typo. The host of the party was really drunk and he looks at me and my girlfriend and he says watch this. He walks into the closet and grabs his ironing board and continues to surf down the stairs flawlessly with the ironing board. It was honestly amazing. Fast forward to after midnight. He proceeds to get up. Go next to the couch to the corner of the room and just starts pissing there. From that day he has been called a corner pisser. Makes more sense in my language because it's one word and sounds more melodic. I saw a woman. Pregnant. Naked. Rolling her face off. Eating barbecue chicken and dripping sauce all over herself at a rave in Detroit. My ex-girlfriend was a DJ and we saw a decent amount of sheet during those travels. But that burned a hole. Rolling while pregnant? Yeesh. And also who has an appetite while rolling? I was in a frat in college and we threw rages regularly. One weekend B.O.B. was playing in the college town. And one of the brothers was a party promoter and somehow invited B.O.B. to our place for an invite-only after party with all the Drew Gus and alcohol he could consume. Plenty of planning went into it and we were ready. Only the brothers. A few of our solid boys. But not the big man himself. They tell us that he needed to lay low and not get any charges if the party goes south. The subsequent hours can only be described as ruckus. These dudes threw down. It's a miracle the cops didn't come. They borrowed an air rifle and we're going ham on squirrels in the back. They managed to put some of our furniture on the roof to chill. We were chip-shotting empties into the dumpster with clubs up there. After 2 kegs were gone they got us doing keg throw competitions and one of our boys slipped in a puddle it faced and knocked himself clean out with the keg. Like clockwork they got picked up at 3:30 AM and were gone. We forever called that night the Buyer Bob party. And edit, keg not leg. On the day that Michael Jackson died I was celebrating the end of exams with my ex-girlfriend and her friends at their house. Everyone got totally wasted. MJ died. There were tears everywhere. One guy punched a window out. While all this was going on, I was upstairs taking a piss. I came out the loo and noticed that there was a door open. My mate came up to use the loo. Saw me looking at the door and said we should take a look inside. We did. We looked everywhere. We eventually looked in the bedside table and found a butt plug and a big purple dildo. Cue us heading downstairs with these 2 devices and swinging them all around the party. throwing them at people. That kind of nonsense. I've told this story before. But we were hanging out at a friend of a friend's party. Calmed down pretty quickly. But there was still some good traffic. Two guys and this blonde girl walk in. None of which we know. And beeline for one of the bedrooms. We can all hear them ducking over the music. About 10 minutes later, one of the dudes walks out completely naked and fully erect and says she wants a third. Our one friend just starts stripping and walks into the room. The rest of us left to go to sheets. Halloween weekend 2015. Huge yard party at an apartment complex. Walked up and first thing I see is someone getting knocked out and dragged to the side by the building. Everyone kept partying. A couple of years ago, I was out walking the golf course with my friends. It was a neighborhood golf course, so it was connected to the backyards of almost all the houses in this little community. Well, we found a party going on that was just packed full of the upper crust. We were probably about 21 and this was a party full of young, rich 27-30-year-olds. Upon entering the party I noticed a guy asleep on the couch. And I was so drunk. I thought I should help wake him up so he could enjoy the party. So I sat on him. And started slapping the sheet out of this guy. Front of the hand. Back of the hand. And I'm sure that guy caught some karate chops in my drunken stupor. He wakes up. And starts yelling. I book it back out onto the golf course. And I didn't see my friends until the next morning. They all got their asses kicked at that party. Because of me. The morning after a party in high school I sat down at the breakfast table of my friend's house to the disapproving stares of everyone. Apparently the night before I vomited in a plugged up sink and then said I claimed this moon for the United States of Earth and planted my flag by throwing my socks in it. I didn't actually see this part. But I heard the screaming and saw naked running. At a college party and this sheet-faced guy and this extremely drunk woman start going at it. They went off into someone's bedroom. Apparently, she was on her period and so they decided to have anal sex. He fumbled around in a drawer and pulled out some lube and they started going at it. Not long after, she starts screaming and runs out of the room naked and starts banging on the bathroom door. Everyone starts laughing their asses off thinking she has to cheat or something. The person doesn't open the door so she runs to the kitchen and hops in the sink and basically shoves the sprayer up her ass. It wasn't lube they had applied. It was icy hot. A heat rub. The room was a football player's room and he kept that stuff in his drawer. So I'm from Canada and we were partying at a friend's garage in the winter. So somewhere in our drunken minds we decided to heap a bunch of snow and jump off the garage into it. So first guy up gets on the roof and yells swan dive, then completely misses the pile and breaks his collarbone. Yet fun times. Showed up at a party where I knew no one. Immediately introduced myself to the hostess who was very drunk and encouraged me to check out the attic. Trying to be a polite new friend who was drinking her booze I did. And it was a very nice attic. After I came back down the ladder a group of very drunk people had gathered. And wanted to know WTF I was doing up there. And what was going on. I told them there were Jews hiding in the attic and they should go meet them. They go up. I go get a drink and not 2 minutes later the hostess is freaking out. Screaming at them that there are no Jews in her attic. Quite the shit show. Happened at the same place but separate parties. The first was watching a good friend chug half a 40 of vodka in one chug. Thankfully he survived. Second was this guy eating glass. As a party trick. He wasn't that drunk either. Ninja edit, 2 different people. Second wasn't a friend but I knew him. This one time my friend got so drunk that he didn't make it to the bathroom. Or maybe he just didn't know where he was anymore. And instead whipped it out and started peeing all over his record collection. He loved those records. So I was like, dude, stop. You're pissing all over your records. He turned to me and, still going, hit me with the best drunken comeback I have ever witnessed. No, you're pissing me off. We were stood at the back of the garden having a smoke. Then we noticed that there was a pretty big sheep ornament in next door's garden, so we dared one of our friends to climb over and take it, but we didn't think she'd actually do it. Meanwhile, some guy who was absolutely sheet-faced charged headfirst into a fence and broke it. It was a weird night and a lot of selfies were taken with that sheep. One of my brothers really liked to break things. At our Halloween party last year, he chucked his TV off the roof of our house. He let everyone at the party take turns smashing it with a bat. That's been our most talked about party ever.